first of all, dream team comparisons are stupid. Not only because the dream team had several of not just all NBA players, but I mean, some of the all-time greats.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today on this Wind Up Wednesday edition, solely here to talk me off a ledge, our favorite administrator and official, Robert Abney. Robert, how are you today? And thank you for joining us, man.
I am living the dream. I spent my weekend focusing on college football stuff, but let's talk some basketball.
All right, in segment one, we're going to talk Team USA as we head into the Olympics. Segment two, we're going to talk about the state of the NBA. Adam Silver had some words to say that we will react to. And in segment three, all WNBA, including their pause, a phenomenal All-Star weekend. And again, their commissioner had some things to say. But first, okay, Robert, I'm Coach Adams. Team USA scouting report was 43.5-point favorite against South Sudan, whose story is phenomenal, and the work Luol Deng has done with that nation in terms of basketball has been amazing. They've only been a country for 13 years, and again, kudos to them. Had a chance to watch Team USA play a lot. It's the summertime. They're playing in the middle of the afternoon. And I just haven't been overly impressed with just the play or the construction of the team. Mike King, our colleague, said he was paused, and there's a social media clip out there garnering some interest. So that's a good thing to our leading social media person. I'm looking at their roster. They've got Steph, they got Devin, they got Anthony Edwards, they got Jrue Holiday, Therese Halliburton, and Derek White. Their forwards was LeBron, KD, who is yet to play, and Jason Tatum. And their centers, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Bam Adebayo. Steve Kerr is their coach with Eric Spoelstra, Ty Lue, and Mark Few. But man, they just simply don't look like they're going to get that job done. I was very disappointed with their disengagement in terms of how they played against South Sudan. They turned the ball over. They are lackadaisical. And one of the things as a coach, Robert, that I emphasized was just valuing every possession. And because it's a 40-minute game and not a 48-minute game, they're so used to just not locking in that it's a problem. So tell me, and I know we're going to win the gold. but, but why are we here? Why did it take time and score? Why did I have to hear LeBron say, that's the kind of game I like? No, I don't want to like that game. And please stop any comparison with the Dream Team. Please stop.
Yes.
Because these teams are watching just like I am. And as a coach, I'm looking for how I can beat you, how I can stop you, how I can do any of this. I was so just disappointed with the performance throughout, regardless of the wins, the tune-ups. I'm just that 10-minute quarter is going to get them. What do you think, sir?
Well, I mean, I don't think, first of all, Dream Team comparisons are stupid. Not only because the Dream Team had several of not just all NBA players, but I mean, some of the all-time greats were on that team. And there will never be another Dream Team. And, you know, even Dream Team 2, that was stupid. That was stupid, right? There's one Dream Team, that was it. The world has changed in terms of how they pay attention to basketball, in terms of how they regard basketball. The world is miles better than they were in 1992. So, I mean, this team can lose games, and it wouldn't shock me if they do lose a game, even in the Olympics. It wouldn't shock me if they lose a game. I still think they'll win the gold medal. But I think they're going to be a lot like the Celtics were. Like we talked about the Celtics all year. It was really a matter of whether they were going to pay attention or not. Like, you're talking about the South Sudan game, and they looked terrible, and they did look terrible. You should never have to worry about the last possession against South Sudan. But a few days earlier, they played Serbia and beat them by 30 because Serbia had Jokic, and Jokic had their attention. And they played Germany. I think they played Germany before this airs. Germany is the number 3 ranked team in the world. Germany will have their attention. So yeah. I agree with you in a lot of things. I think Joel Embiid. I did not see any of the South Sudan game. I saw the Serbia game. I thought Joel Embiid looked terrible. They looked so much better as a team when Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo were on the floor together than when Embiid was on the floor. I think KD will help them when they come back because KD, you can say whatever you want about him, but KD has always been a bucket and still is.
Yeah.
And you got to have guys in the international game more than anything else because you're going to get these weird officials from, weird places.
Uzbekistan.
That just
do, like, what?
Just do weird stuff because FIBA does that. You got to have guys who can knock down shots. And that's why I think Derek White being on that team is a good thing because Derek White can knock down shots. Steph Curry obviously is going to have to knock down shots. And KD knocks down shots. I think those, they're going to be fine. But yeah,
yeah, and I'm not Chicken Little. I'm not sky is falling, but their level of disengagement, because they did the same thing against Australia, and they let Australia come back. And one of the things you and I have talked about, both in football and basketball, you just don't want Hope to get into that building. Mm-hmm. And Hope was in the building last night. When that game was on, and Hope was dancing and singing, and they had me popping. I'm like, whoa, he went for the throw when they went for the 3 and got up one and attacked the basket and once Hope gets in there and the international crowd turns heel and they start rooting for the baby face, I don't even want you to think you can play with me. Hey. And that's really what's bothering me is that they're not coming in and establishing dominance. They're playing back and forth, not saying that these teams, this is a no bum conversation. This is, I'm supposed to be better than you. I have better depth than you at every level. And they're just too, as my mentor, Hank Galata say, just a slide street shuffle guy, just sliding around. He's really not focused. And that's what's bothering me in terms of just watching them play.
I'll say one more thing. Because South Sudan is in the U.S.'s group in the Olympics.
Yeah, they're going to beat the brakes off.
in that game, strictly for entertainment purposes, take the over.
Yeah, they're going to beat the follower said that in the chat. Yeah, say what you want, but the next time they play them, they're going to kill them. All right, so fans, in segment 2, we're going to talk about the state of the NBA. Adam Silver during NBA Summer League had a lot to say about a lot of things, and we're going to react to them. We'll be right back on the Yacht Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast in segment 2. Time to explain the second apron to everyone. Because this has been a point of emphasis and a topic that has come up. So the Los Angeles Clippers lost Paul George to the Philadelphia 76ers, and the team cited the constraints of the new CBA. The team was referencing the rules that were agreed upon in collective bargaining that aim to level the playing field by creating team building restrictions for franchises that spent far into the luxury tax. Thus, you have a second apron created. That phrase came to define a lot of what we saw in free agency, with the Clippers losing Paul George, the Denver Nuggets losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and other teams having issues. So the commissioner, Adam Silver, was asked about this and a lot of other topics. Robert, I can't wait to get your thoughts on it. So first, let's talk about the second apron. The commissioner said, and I'm paraphrasing, when I'm hearing from teams about this, they're realizing that there's real teeth to the salary cap now. And we didn't say you couldn't do it. We're just saying you got to pay to do it. What are your thoughts on the second apron now?
Well, that's going to be a really interesting question for owners. Because I at least in my experience, and I may be wrong, but most owners, their franchise is not their primary business. Okay. And they're business guys. They're all about making money. So even though it might be fun to own a franchise and win championships, how much are you willing to spend money? Are you willing to potentially lose money? Because that's what that means when you're paying the luxury tax. You have money leaving your coffers. Are you willing to do that to continue to win championships? And I don't think that modern owners have that. I don't think modern owners in general are willing to do that. I think as long as they win a championship here and there, and they're competitive, like in the playoff, NBA in the playoffs, and then maybe work it where you spend big one time and go for it, I think they're okay with that. And I know Adam Silver's okay with that, because what does that do? It generates more interest across the NBA because you have more teams with a chance. It's basically what the NFL has done, where we talk about, we get to that final Sunday in the NFL and there's 17 teams with 52 different playoff permutations. If that's what happened on the final day of the regular season for the NBA, Adam Silver would be fine with that. He would love it, because that means more people are going to pay attention.
Now, do you think it's the end of dynasties, or that's kind of overblown? What do you think?
I don't know if I think it's the end of dynasties. I think it might change what we think of as dynasties. I think historically we've always thought about dynasties being extended periods of time, 8, 10, 12 years. And maybe now dynasties are going to be 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or you make 3 finals in a row and win 2 of them, or make 4 finals in a row and win 2 of them. That might be the extent of that now, and that might be what our new definition of what a dynasty really is.
Yeah.
And for example, I mean, the Celtics have shelled out a bunch of money.
It's a nice run, man. It's a nice run.
They've shelled out a bunch of money for 3 guys. So what happens coming up? Because that's a lot of money for 3 dudes. And last I checked, NBA rosters were 12.
Yes. All right, I want to ask you about NBA media rights. So they're working on media rights plans, and we talked last week about the games being on 7 days a week, of course, after football season. But many of those games will be on streaming services, and in our private lives, not everybody has everything. Tell us from your perspective what you think about the NBA leaning more towards streaming and less away from over-the-air broadcast. What do you say?
I think people are deciding that that's the future. And I mean, I'm not a fan. I don't have a bunch of streaming services. I don't have Amazon Prime. I'm not paying for Amazon Prime so I can watch the NFL and the NBA. I'm not doing that. That being said, I think that trend is going to continue where more and more sports are going to be on paid streaming services. And people are going to have to decide. I think for most people, they're going to have to decide, okay, what am I willing to pay for? Because, I mean, I guess you could pay for, okay, I'm going to pay for ESPN Plus services. I'm going to pay for Peacock. I'm going to pay for Paramount. I'm going to pay for Amazon Prime. And I guess you could. I mean, there will be people who will do that. Is it going to be as many people as they think there are? I don't know the answer.
I don't know. And that's a good point, because personally and for the show, I have ESPN Plus. But a lot of that is because my wife likes track, and there's just some stuff she's not going to be able to watch. Same thing with Peacock. We got Peacock for wrestling and track, and now WWE is moving to Netflix, which I have because occasionally I like to watch movies, and I'm not going to the theater to watch movies. I have Amazon Prime because of the wife. Stuff's at the house on a regular. So I lucked into Amazon Prime. So I can watch Thursday Night Football. I can watch these, but as if it was up to me, no. But on the flip side, I pay for XM Radio, but I travel a lot. So there's going to come a breaking point where I'm going to decide, just say, you know what? I don't want this because I don't have HBO and Max or whatever. So when the guys are talking about some dragon something in the chat, I don't know what they're talking about because I don't have it. Yeah, there is going to come a breaking point, and I don't know what that's going to be for, Joe the fan.
Yeah, and like I as I have ESPN Plus because I watch a ton of college basketball and college football, and that's where you watch that, right?
Yeah. All right, last thing that we're going to get into is expansion. And with the new media rights coming in, and as we talked about last week, the next thing is expansion. If you had two cities, and I'm hoping you're going to say the same thing I am, what two cities do you want to go to, sir?
Bring back the Supersonics.
Absolutely. And I don't know what we're going to call the Vegas team. Won't be the Blackjacks.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be, I think Seattle and Vegas, I think that's where we're going.
And then which two teams come back to the East? Minnesota, New Orleans? What are you pulling back over?
Those are the two that would make the most sense.
In theory, okay, but we're in education.
But well, hang on. Memphis,
yeah. Memphis.
Yeah. Memphis before Minnesota, probably.
All right. So with that, fans, in segment 3, WNBA news and notes. A lot of chatter about the All-Star game, who played, who didn't play. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast. In segment 3, the WNBA takes a much needed break. The WNBA will take a month-long break during the Olympics. So here's where we're freezing the standings, because after today's episode, it'll be all about the Olympics. Power rankings at the break. New York is 1, Connecticut 2, Minnesota 3, Seattle 4, Las Vegas 5, Phoenix 6, Indiana 7, and Chicago is 8. And the league is loving that. And then the best of the rest, Atlanta, Los Angeles, the Washington Mystics, and Dallas. Who's hot? New York, Seattle, Las Vegas. Who's not? Atlanta and LA. But let's get to the WNBA All-Star Weekend. So it rewrote the record books, Robert. You had Alicia Gray winning both the skills challenge and the three-point contest, but there was no Caitlin and no Sabrina. And that's a missed opportunity, as we say in education. You had Arike Abumake starring Abumawale, just killing it in the second half. Brianna Stewart becomes the first player to get 30 and 10, and Angel Reese had another double-double. So before I get your thoughts, 3 takeaways for me. The rookies did their thing, but sometimes you got to suck it up, Caitlin and Sabrina, and you got to do the JOB on the PPV. Arike, just big time player, and Dallas has to do more to get her help. And Team USA looks like they've got some work to do. Any thoughts on the WNBA All-Star Weekend?
I do think the Team USA does have some work to do. That being said, you had a bunch of people playing against them who were ticked about not being on Team USA. I mean, Arike Ogunbowale, you think Team USA, you think USA basketball is not now going, ooh, maybe that was a bad one. I think, Angel Reese did what she does. Caitlin, I did not watch the game. I looked at the box score real quick.
She had 10 assists, 4 points.
She obviously did not shoot the ball well, but she's gonna, a game like that, she doesn't have to shoot. She could just say, you know what, I'm going to see how many assists I'm going to get. She probably could have gotten 20 if she'd tried.
Yeah. Well, the WNBA is making moves. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert had some comments just like Adam Silver did. So one of the things is expanding the regular season. The WNBA is considering going to 44 games next year. That will be the most allowed under the current CBA. Right now, the regular season is currently at 40. What do you think about expanding the regular season, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm shocked they haven't done it yet. But now, looking at the amount of money to be made after this year, I would be shocked if we don't see 44 games next year. They will negotiate that.
Yes, and speaking of getting the bag, the WNBA is got high attendance, new viewership records, a lot of merch sales. So when we're talking about the potential $2.2 billion for 11 years, Robert, you've done a budget or two. Do you think they're being undervalued, sir?
Yes, especially now. And maybe before this year, you could have argued that that was an accurate assessment. But I would say now that it is not, and it's only going to continue to grow, and that value will only continue to go up.
Well, the current media deal has games on CBS and the ION network, as well as ESPN and Amazon. The CBS and ION deals could be renewed after they expire, which will add more money. The ION deal is worth $13 million a year and is scheduled to end after next season. The WNBA has games on Amazon Prime since 2021, including the annual Commissioner's Cup. The league is showing 21 games this season on a streaming service, and the players are expected to opt out of the CBA. So this is going to be interesting. The new media deal could bring in new revenue to increase player salary. Top base salary is $242,000. Caitlin Clark on the court for the WNBA is making only $76,000 as the number 1 pick. So before we wrap up, Robert, any final thoughts on the direction the WNBA is going, or any advice you'd give Commissioner Engelbert?
You better find a way to make the bag you're giving your players a little bigger, because the last thing the WNBA needs right now is a stoppage because the players decide they don't want to play because they feel like they're not getting paid enough. And I don't think, you don't need to start going to, 11 million. You don't need to start going to 11 million a season or anything like that. But A'ja Wilson making $242,000. That sounds wrong. Let's just say that sounds wrong.
No.
So they need to figure that out.
All right. Well, on behalf of Robert, this was good, man. I'm glad you helped me get some things out. On behalf of Robert Abney, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and/or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.